Hello YouTubers. Today I'm here to offer you a little sampling of Miss PHAEDRA Parks' new book called Secrets of the Southern Belle. I want to read some excerpts to you of some of the things that I thought were important or entertaining to myself, just to help you get an idea of whether or not you might be interested in purchasing the book. This is what the book looks like. Secrets of the Southern Belle. And there's her pretty picture on the front. And there's a picture of her on the back. I want you to take a look at this exquisite dress that she's wearing. It's absolutely stunning. Now look how beautiful she is. Oh, isn't she something? Alright, so she starts off and she says, and believe you me when I tell you, there's a lot to learn in this book. And I want to say that not everyone is well rehearsed in good manners. It could be for several reasons. It could be that your mom was a working mom and she was very, very busy and just didn't have the time, or the forethought to teach you every single thing that there was to know about good manners. It takes a lot. That's why they call it a village to raise a child or a community, because there's so much to be taught to a child. So then you have the parent who may not even have known all these things. So how can a person teach you all these things if they don't know all these things? And so it's forgivable if you don't know everything, and you want to learn something so that you can better yourself. And that's the reason why I think this book is important. It's important to mothers, it's important to grandmothers and aunties, anyone who wants to help set an example or instill some good values into our young children. And one of the first things she says is, speak softly. We do speak softly. Our mothers teach us from the start not to raise our voices. Yelling is not helpful or attractive. And I thought that was very important, because a lot of times we get excited and we start yelling, and we don't even realize that we're yelling. And so, and she tells a lot. She gives little examples. One is where she says, I used to have some neighbors who must have had a different child rearing philosophy. They just did not seem to be able to control their children. On Saturday mornings, I suppose when the parents were sleeping in, our doorbell would ring. And until we got wise, we'd always open the door, and there was this posse of 3-foot-high rugrats. Before we knew it, they'd come into the house and they'd be swarming all over our kitchen, grabbing juice boxes and bananas and pretty much anything that wasn't nailed down. They'd then pick up my son's toys and head out to the yard. They were like something out of Dr. Seuss. Sometimes the parents would come over a few minutes later, all sleepy-eyed, even in their pajamas once, and ask if we knew where their children were. That is the exact opposite of Southern Belle parenting. And then she goes on to give you more instructions about the little guest, how children should act when they go visiting. Don't touch anything without being... Oh, wait a minute. Address your host or hostess politely. If you're introduced to someone new, shake hands and look them in the eye. And then she says, don't touch anything without being invited to. Not the dog, not the vase of flowers, not the pretty brocade chair. It's all right to ask for a glass of water, but nothing else. You can accept what the hostess offers, but you can't ask for any substitutions, whether it's a drink or an activity. No Southern child would ever consider saying he didn't like something. That's just plain rude. When you leave, thank your hostess and tell her what a nice time you had. A child who follows these rules will grow into an adult who everyone is happy to see at the front door. Alright, and the next thing I wanted to share with you all is where she was talking about the lady and how it's very important to keep our composure. The lady, the Southern Belle, She doesn't cuss and doesn't talk dirty. She knows the vocabulary of a seasoned sailor, meaning that she knows profanity. Everybody knows when you say a sailor, you're talking about someone who is using profanity. So she says she knows the vocabulary of a seasoned sailor, but she prides herself in being a wordsmith. And she goes on to say, I have friends who have never... Oh, wait. She's happy to ask for help. Asking for assistance doesn't mean you're helpless. It means that you hold the rest of the world to a high standard. You expect to be respected and treated properly. I have friends who have never in their lives pumped gas for their cars. They will ask a complete stranger to do it for them. One of my besties from New Orleans will flag down a man, give him her credit card, and have him pump and pay for her gas. You won't be doing that in this community because someone's liable to steal your gas card, your car, even yourself. So you won't be doing that around here. And then she goes on to say, being a lawyer, I'm way too suspicious to give a stranger my credit card. So I have to ask my husband or some other gentleman I know to pump my gas. Yeah, I like it. All right. Over here, she's talking, oh, she gave some good examples about being in beauty pageants, and I thought that was pretty important because I always thought a beauty pageant was just basically, you know, you flaunt your beauty and that's kind of pretty much it. But no, she says, over here she talked about, hold on, don't leave, because this is very important. Okay, she says, when we got older, we had to write essays and answer a pretty complicated question in front of a live audience. I'm sure that is one of the reasons I'm so comfortable in a courtroom now. Pageants teach you how to think and respond quickly and hopefully intelligently on your feet. Beyond the dresses and the sometimes corny group dance routines, pageantry, if you care to learn, can teach you invaluable lessons about being graceful and poised in the midst of heated competition. She said something else somewhere about this. Oh yeah. Girls learn how to walk gracefully, how to smile like they mean it, and how to eloquently speak to strangers. I thought that was important. All right, and then she talked about, oh yeah, and over here again about pageants, she's talking about the mega belles have to be ladies. Most of the organizations are really strict about upright, moral behavior. No smoking, no drinking, no hanky-panky. They must be charming since they will meet so many people during their year's reign and they will be representing their cities. They have to be poised and disciplined, always looking polished. Just try waving from a float covered with roses for a couple of hours, smiling the whole time. Honestly, only a Southern belle could manage that. All right, and then over here she talks about how when she was a young girl, a very young girl, you know, like elementary school age, when they had, okay, she says, I couldn't have been much more than 5 years old. I remember it clear as day. I had a little white wedding dress with a baby doll white socks trimmed with lace and white patent leather Mary Janes. I guess my attraction to shoes go way back. And I had a little bouquet with white roses and white gloves that went up my arms. She's talking about one of those little Tom Thumb weddings that they have in elementary school. And so she said, and I had a little bouquet with white roses and white gloves that went all the way up my arms. My groom wore a little charcoal gray tuxedo with one of the ruffled shirts that were so fashionable back then. Actually, I married him twice, when I was 5 and when I was 6. I'm glad it ended there because I don't think he was such a catch after he hit adolescence. Okay, the reason this Tom Thumb wedding that she addressed was so important to me is because it brought to mind how important it is for us to instill in our children the importance and the value of getting married, in as much as I believe that if we plant seeds of expectation and responsibility into our children at a very young age. Let's say you can disagree. Let's say beginning at the age of 7 ongoing, as opposed to just say your daughter gets 12 years old and you give her that birds of the bees conversation where you tell her about what's going on, and then that's it, and you tell her what you expect, and then that's it. Well, if you start with when they're very young, hey, when you get married, this is what is expected of you. When you get a husband, this is the things that he should do for you. This is the way you respect your husband. This is the way your husband should treat you. If you plant those seeds when your children are very, very young, your aunts, your mother, your grandmothers, people that you come in contact with often are teaching you how to be a respectable wife, what to expect from a good husband, then before you have your children, as opposed to seeing your peers in the community who say, well, when I get 18, I want to have a baby because I want someone to love me and I want someone to keep me company, and it's okay if I don't have a husband because my baby will keep me company and I can do it by myself. I don't have to have a man. Well, if you plant good seeds and nurture those seeds throughout the years, hopefully and prayerfully, your children, our children, will grow up and expect to be married before they have children. Understand the importance of having mother, father, family. Understand the importance of trying to make a marriage work so that our families are intact. And I know that family and marriage and that kind of thing is becoming extinct. It's not as popular to stay married for 50 years as it was 50 years ago. But I believe our community, our society as a whole would be better if our families could remain intact. Yes, it's probably idealistic thinking, but it's just something that I feel deep inside my heart and soul that is valuable to teach our children. And so a lot of these manners and thoughts and teachings are in this book. They all come from when you're young and your parents teach you the thank yous and the no thank yous and the excuse me and the please and expecting to be pleasant to one another. So just if you have any comments, please let me know, and thank you for listening.